But in spectacular style, if you look at what happened against the TS Galaxy, ordinarily, you would think after this penalty, 6 minutes into the game, Sundowns going to the lead, that it's going to be a cakewalk. They had to fight.
Yeah, Matthews continues from where he left off last season, out on the left. This is, TS are playing three at the back, and they're playing with Maslambi and Sindoga as wing backs. So in a defensive duty, this is what might very well happen. Not very clever inside the box, clearly getting contact, and Matthews, I think, knowing that and doing well to go around Sindoga and to win the penalty. Leon finishes off with the plum, top right-hand corner, giving Tape no chance.
No chance. Leon scores, absolutely clinical with that finish. However, heads don't drop in this TS Galaxy side because they find an equalizer, they find a way back into the game, and then they also find a way to take the lead.
Yeah. I think when you look at TS Galaxy, they came into this game with a great game plan. And their claim was to wait for Sundowns to get to the sides and take away space and time. If you look at the build-up in this instance, they're waiting for the ball to go to the side so that they can press. Look at how they take away space and time from Santos. He's forced to play a first-time ball, recovered in that midfield, and Lutsalo is set through 1v1. He's not going to miss from there. And he really takes the goal very well. But good pressing structure, good group defending. As soon as they intercept, look at that. It's 5 versus 4, and they are able to squeeze Sundowns, take away space and time, and Victor Lutsalo, good composure, puts it in the knee.
That's finish, but Santos, I mean, is that just being fancy, or is it...
Yeah, in the Sundowns squad of this nature, if you make a mistake like that, you don't last. And he got subbed at half-time. Also, I think Kaizer must also learn, and he can see in front of him, he must learn when there is a squeeze, there's nothing wrong with just clipping it into the front line. Here, this is the Achilles heel again of Sundowns. They Swallow doing very well to make a late run. Sundowns playing that high line. There were two foils that made that run early who were offside. The Swallow made the run perfectly well, came off the upright onto Williams, given his own goal, which was a little bit unfair considering that Swallow did very well to get ahead.
So Ronwen has an own goal based on this, where Lutsalo could have had a brace.
The ball was going away from goal after hitting the post. So the only way it goes inside the net is because it comes off the back of Ronwen Williams. A little bit harsh to the striker, Victor Lutsalo, who thought he had a brace.
Would you have claimed it?
Oh, straight. Sekhukhune is straight. And I think Ronwen Williams would feel very unlucky to say he stretches as much as he can.
Nothing else he can do.
It comes off the upright and on his back, and Victor Lutsalo will feel hard done by.
Set pieces have been a problem for Sundowns for the longest time, and I've taken a lot of thought about what the issue could be, and I feel that it's all very well having nice, good, eloquent ball players from the back. That's fair enough. But when you're facing a set piece, you have to turn into a bit of a nasty bully. And I don't think we've done that enough as centre-backs and a 6. And I think in that moment, you've just got to turn yourself into a little bit of a different animal, get some contact, be aggressive, and make sure that your lines are cleared.
But Matt, for me, other than that, I'm also just looking at the system they are using to defend set plays. They are zonal marking, and in every team there's 3 or 4 best headers of the ball. I just feel mixed marking would work better, where you've got some of the guys zonal marking, and then the rest of the guys needs to man mark. At Sundowns, they zonal mark hands. A lot of teams, they put the ball to the far post, then it's brought back, and that's how Mamelodi Sundowns are conceding. Happened against Polokwane City, happened now against TS Galaxy.
As much as that's the case, Oksalayo, they've got Mkhulisi. And Mkhulisi is the man who turns into the hero here, because cometh the hour, cometh the man, sub made, changes needed, and he shows up massively because, this game is over. You're 2 minutes to the end of the game and Sundowns are down. They go on and win.
Yeah, and what's more is that Matthews changes sides for both the goals that are coming up now. The first one, there is a great pass which releases Mudau into that area. He fakes that little pass inside to send Zulu, and then of course clips it back, and a great toe poke finish there. So Mudau, Matthews did very well to set set up Mkhulisi for both of his goals here.
And then you think to yourself, okay, Sundowns are going to get a point out of this game. But that's not how Sundowns work.
You have to give credit to the coaching team of Mamelodi Sundowns, because in the first 45, Khuliso stayed a lot more back in his own half. Especially, they used him as the third defender in that rest defense. But you could see the tactical adjustment in the second 45, where he was allowed to go a lot more forward. And also the tactical switch where the coach's influence, you move Matthews from the left to the right-hand side. Matthews is on the ball right now. You're going to see Matthews is going to get this ball. He gets the secondary assist once again to get the ball to Mudawe. Then Ublesa finishes, which is Mkhulisi. But for me, it's for the coach looking to the bench, bringing Mkhulisi off, switching Matthews from the left to the right, allowing Khuliso to then go on the attack in the second 45. And that's how 3 points were stolen away from TS Galaxy. I need to give credit to Cardoso.
Has Mudawe added something to his game? I mean, these balls are pretty dangerous. And if there was ever a weakness in Mudawe's game, it would be that final ball.
Final ball, yeah. Yeah, and you can think of a number of fullbacks who are fantastic, very athletic in getting to that position, but that final ball is lacking, and he's probably one of them. But when he gets into that position for the cutback, he generally gets it right, though, Thomas. For me, it's when he's out a little bit wider for the longer cross. That's a bit of an issue. But what's impressive about him is that he's come back from an extended season, very successful World Cup, and yet he's still making those runs into that particular space so late in the game. So a hell of an athlete. Too.
So that set things up. Mamelodi Sundowns get the 3 points. Kaizer Chiefs needed to do the business against Sekhukhune. We know how good Sekhukhune are. But in this game, I mean, Coach Cruz absolutely nullifying anything that Sekhukhune brought to the party, and Chiefs clinical when they had opportunities.
Chiefs are clinical, and I'm really loving the type of attacking football Kaizer Chiefs are playing. A new lease of life for a young Batman, used differently over the weekend, playing out on the left-hand side midweek, his ability to attack the box, but the way Kaizer Chiefs drives forward, always the man on the ball has got passing options in front of him, but he takes it first time, Batman, to be able to get the goal. Already a man of the match performance this season already. I think the confidence that Coach Cruz is giving to the team, amazing.
Great finish. And then wrapping things up, talk about Ndlovu. He got so much criticism last season for how hard he was and the tackles that he was making, and then shows up with what we know him for.
He was only criticized because of the one game, though.
Yeah, but it went on there. They didn't criticize him for one day.
No. Yeah.
It became almost like a label there.
Nah, he's a quality player, and he can do exactly this. It's nice that he shaped to play it on his left-hand side, towards the left-hand side, but he cut in very nicely. Out of his, in his peripheral vision, he saw Shaba had made the run. That's a nicely weighted ball. There's nothing worse than making the run and then the ball being overhit or underhit.
But I also love the double movement from Shabalala, because he first fakes to go short, and then as soon as they follow him, then he attacks that space in behind. I thought great double movement, a great pass to release him, and a clinical finish.
And often the ball player won't necessarily see that movement, and it will be frustrating. But the fact that he still makes it in the hope that it will is impressive.
So then what happened when the two sides met on the weekend, the huge encounter at the F&B Stadium, Kaizer Chiefs hosting Mamelodi Sundowns. One thing that did happen was that Coach at Mamelodi Sundowns deciding straight away, listen, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring in the man who was so brilliant against TS Galaxy, Mkhulisi.
I think Thomas, I think when you look at what happened with the goal that Kaizer Chiefs ends up scoring, and for me, when you look at it tactically, I'm looking at the goal that they score over here, Thomas, and what I'm highlighting in this moment is he gets dragged out. Now, Chiefs were playing with 3 at the back, and that's the 3 that we are highlighting. They had 2 wing backs, and those are the wing backs that we are highlighting at this moment. They had 3 in midfield. They were playing in a 5-3-2 when they were defending. That is the front 2 of Kaizer Chiefs in this moment. Now, Abbas is on the ball, and it was his first game that he had started. The ball goes wide. They rotate back to him. Now I'm highlighting that pass that he's trying to find, but Mabue anticipates that pass is going to come in. I'm highlighting Mabue in this instance. He knows that they want to penetrate through the middle. As soon as you look at how high Mudiba is and how high Mudau is, those are the two fullbacks of Mamelodi Sundowns. They are too high. Now the space has opened up. As soon as Mabue wins that ball, he's trying to thread the pass using the speed of the young Batman who started up as a false nine. Now the defenders are spreadly wide in this moment because they were still building up in the build-up phase. Mamelodi Sundowns does win the ball back. Now look at what he does in Ndlovu. He's divided, but Mabue continues with that run, blocking that passing lane to say, introduce the ball inside. We're anticipating that Sundowns is not a team that goes wide. The end of God is on Pili. He's going to go on and score the goal in this moment. When you roll it forward, you'll see Ndlovu driving the team forward, forcing matters. And as soon as that space opens up in the wide areas, he has no opportunity to take a shot. Therefore, he will lay the ball off. And Pili says, thank you very much. I'm going to score my first goal for my new team. He goes on in a huge celebration, and I understand he's playing in front of 60,000 players that are supporters that are there to support him. A well-taken goal, but pressing traps from Kaizer Chiefs, done so well. I love what Cruz did in terms of the gameplay.
There was also the fact that this game had the yellow cards in it. And it's so critical in how that goal is scored because Obas picks up a yellow card, 44th minute, and then suddenly can't make a tackle when Ndlovu is right in front of him because he knows another touch here, I'm off the field.
4 yellow cards in the first half, two apiece. A little bit surprising that both teams went for out-and-out number 6s, in Mtetwa and Obas. Obas, I can probably understand, because of the set-piece worry, he was going to add a bit of height there. In fact, both teams didn't have any successful crosses when they got out wide. All were met by defensive headers.
Of the ball incident there for the first of the cards that were handed out in that first half, and continue to have a little bit of niggle in this game.
Yeah, well, this fixture, Thomas, has always had a lot of tension, anxiety, but a feistiness to it. And so it wasn't a surprise to see this.
Again, as we look at some more of the tackling that was coming in and making sure that no quarter was given, none was asked. A match where Chiefs didn't have too much possession, but still were able to score first and were physically present. Muluisani picking up the yellow. That's the third of the 4 in that first half.
You could see the way the two teams set up. Mamelodi Sundowns were set up to dominate the possession. Kaizer Chiefs in that 5-3-2, they wanted to play on transition. But you could see that tactically both teams were set for those professional fouls. Once you see that the shape of your team is unbalanced, you go on and cause a foul. That is Abbas. Later on in the game, he can't even make a tackle because of that yellow card that he has. One more mistake, you are off the field. And
you see that Ndlovu gets in front of him.
And players do think about it to say, one more mistake, I might be sent off.
Well, that is an interesting tweet coming through that says, Pili, take off the mask. You are Lamine Yamal. Yay! Hegumnandi. But the equalizer does come. Mamelodi Sundowns, similar to how they did against TS Galaxy, find a way back. But they were dominating. I mean, with over 60%, almost 70% of the possession in this game, it seemed like it was going to be a matter of time.
Yeah, I mean, Chiefs played with 3 centre-backs, Moniani and Modi out wide as the wing-backs, so a little bit of a different formation. A lot of teams do play this way against Downs. Here, this was poor for Chiefs, because this was second phase. There was 4 against 2 at the back post. So Kikana, there's no surprise that one of those Sundowns players would win it. And then I think a bad choice from Peterson. I'm pretty sure he called for the ball because we see Mtetwa stop. You caught that off air. Mtetwa stops. He doesn't get involved in the challenge, and that for me means that Peterson has called for it, and he's well late. Very brave header from Malula to score the equalizer.
Let's take a look. There, Ox does stop, but Peterson gets nowhere near that. I mean, even where he's trying to punch that ball is not at its highest point. His hands are so low as to where he thinks he's going to get that ball.
Yeah, a goalkeeping error because you look at where he wants to punch the ball. As a goalkeeper, you've got the advantage of using your hands. When you've got the advantage of using your hands, you need to try and meet the ball at the highest point. And he's trying to catch the ball here. Where else, if you've got the advantage, you need to try to be catching there, which gives the advantage to say, how tall is Mayelula? Because if you want to catch the ball that way, Thomas, it means it's at the height where Mayelula can touch the ball. But if you go there, then you take the advantage. Then the second phase of that is, why does Ox stop? Because you know Ox is a physical player. He wants to get physical with you. But then that stop, he stops. Then what could he have had? Could he have had Chippa and he stops? That's the miscommunication that we are insinuating happened in that moment.
Peterson, that's 2 mistakes now in successive weeks. I mean, in the MTN 8, and then are we going to call this a goal that can be attributed to the goalkeeper?
Yeah, it's his mistake. But bear in mind that he's been superb for them over the last season, 2 seasons. So
only as good as your last game.
Yeah, no, for sure. And he's allowed to have his moment. That's why goalkeepers have to have such strong characters, because he has to forget about these mistakes, immediately push it to his side, and understand that there is pressure behind it.
Tell us what you think, and let's move on to what happened as far as Orlando Pirates are concerned. They started the week against Amazulu, and this is how it starts out, because great work done by Mbuthuma, battles, and this is what his coach and everyone who's an analyst explains. Mbuthuma fights and works, and he does so much to make sure that this goal does actually happen.
It's important because it's a point of reference. It's important because he holds up the ball for the offensive midfielders of Orlando Pirates. A delightful ball over the top from Masongani. The first touch is superb. Look at the run that he makes. For me, that's why he's in the starting lineup. Good first touch. Again, good anticipation from Muremi. He's a left winger. But as soon as the ball is on the right-hand side, Muremi needs to become the second striker. He sees that Mbuthuma has drifted out wide. Any young winger watching, when the ball is on the opposite end, you need to tuck inside. Muremi does that so well. But Kouassi will feel hard to say he parries the ball and his defenders did not react the quickest, but Muremi puts it in the back of the net.
The problem, though, is great work there, but he's still the number 9 for Orlando Pirates. And when you are that player, there's an expectation that you're also going to find the back of the net and not just work hard up front, battling for the ball. And Mbuthuma against Amazulu just could not find the back of the net.
Well, even at Richardsburg, I feel that you knew what you were going to get. He's not a finisher. He's not somebody. He's not a Mabasa. He's not a Bradley Krobler, but he's going to give you so much more, Thomas. And that, he's athletic. He puts on a very aggressive press, which is what the coach clearly likes. Here he actually shows very nice technique to try and attempt to get it down, and he softens that side foot volley. But
he's frustrated. I mean,
yeah,
you saw the first one, he's on the floor. Here he pulls the jersey
and that's
up.
How you must react. That's how you must react, Thomas, because
But you're making it sound like he's not expected to score somehow.
No,
then why is he frustrated?
I'm not saying that.
Here he is, Mbuthuma.
I'm explaining the strong characteristics of what the things that he can provide. He's not a Babasi, he's not a Krobler, he's not a poacher per se, but he will give you so many other things.
On this day, Pirates needed goals.
Yeah, he should have slotted this to the far post. There was a clear channel between Kouassi and the far post here. Also, but slow feet. But he gets flustered. You can see the change in his body when he gets the one-on-ones. You can see that energy in his body. He's not calm, and you've got to be composed in those moments.
There you go. So that and the opportunities that weren't found for Orlando Pirates did lead a situation where Amazulu only needed 1 to get something out of the game, and they did get that. Here is the referee pointing to the spot. Sibelebele, wrong side.
Critical phase of the game. It's time for Orlando Pirates defense to remain focused. Sibelebele is making a tackle when there is cover. For me, there's no need for him to make the challenge because Siema is alone in the box. He's waiting to give him the necessary cover. But Mbanjwa really milks this because he's waiting for a touch. Any striker, you touch me here, I'm going down. And Sibelebele does make contact with Mbanjwa, and correct decision taken by the ref points to the penalty spot. and is that man again, Ngwenya, who calmly slots the ball into the back of the net. I also think lack of communication. If Siema can just communicate, I got you, I'm on the cover, don't commit. Those are the sort of leadership that you need as a centre-back. And Matt will tell you, the best centre-backs are not the ones with the best tackles. They're the great communicators. You look at Benson Muhlongo at the Mamelodi Sundowns, one of the best centre-backs, but mostly it was communication that was coming from him. In that instance, lack of communication, and Sibelebele commits.
Ngwenya scoring, gets his team back in it. They actually eventually take a point out of the game. But there's the other side of what happened in the game, where his coach even specifically in the post-match interview, Arthur Zwane, speaks about it. We'll listen to that. Yeah. But let's look at what happens here. Sihle Nduli, back from 7 months worth of injury, comes back into the game, and then it's Ngwenya with a horrific tackle.
Yeah, this is. I'm not sure whether this is malicious or whether this is just clumsy. Nevertheless, this is a terrible tackle from Ngwenya. Could very well have gotten a red card. Nobody would have batted an eyelid if this had been a red. You know, Nduli's been out for the longest time. How many months, Umuzo? 7 months. Now he's out for?
Possibly 4.
Possibly 4. I mean, and he's such a great player, you know, and he's very similar to Mbata and what he offers. I was quite concerned about who was going to be able to step up. Luckily, Pirates has got depth. You know, Mokobori does something very similar alongside Dancer, but now they're looking very light in that position, and this is a concern, you know.
Listening to what Coach Zwane had to say, this is maybe what you want a coach to come out with. He didn't come and try and defend the tackle, didn't try to stand by his player. He was very clear about what he thought of that tackle. Take a listen.
Nduli, man, I don't like to see such. I don't want to see a player that is coming back from an injury with such a talent, and then it's back to, you know, he's out again injured. I wish him a speedy recovery. You know, look, we don't even want to see our players getting injured. So Tando could have done much better there, you know. So yeah, sorry to the player. Hopefully he'll recover very, very quick.
Was that the message then that you shared with Utano Bangbonile? Is soon after that challenge, to the side?
Yeah, because firstly we regain position, and now as an offensive player, you need to pass and make a forward movement. You get what I mean? He passes a 2-meter pass and then he stands. Then what must Atini do with the ball? When you're an offensive player, you think about going forward. You pass and go, because you want a return pass from Atini, so that as a striker, you want to see goals, you want to score goals. But now if you become lazy, then I have a problem with you. So I was telling him that, listen, I don't deal with lazy players.
Not only the tackle, but you got to put in a shift. To a man who's got a goal in the game already, was critical in that match against Orlando Pirates.
No, just wishing Sihle Nduli a speedy recovery. I didn't understand how the referees missed that, because by the time the tackle is made, the ball is not even in picture anymore. And just a speedy recovery to him after that malicious tackle.
Also, the comments from Zwane, I quite like that. You know, you can say it on air, you can say it in the changing room, you can say it one-on-one with a player. He chose to do it publicly, just to bring Ngwenya down, you know, just to keep his feet back on the ground. I think that's very important. He scored, you know, he's a leading goal scorer now. You know, he's in amongst the clouds. So just to bring him down a notch.
Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to bring a player who's on the clouds down a notch?
If he can suss out a bit of overconfidence, a bit of arrogance on the training field, then that's very important, that he's got to do it.
Yeah.
I have to agree. All he's trying to do is come back and be a team player. It's not about the goals that you score. Now, you don't assist the team when they have to defend. You don't assist the team in terms of your movement of the ball to create space for your teammates. You're easily satisfied when you have scored the goal, so therefore, that's what you do. You nudge him a little bit to keep him hungry and wanting more.
Give me the tactics and the trends. I want more when it comes to Pirates in the next game. They play against Chippa United. Chippa winless in their opening 3 games of the season, and Pirates clinical in this match.
Nduli is injured. Now, Orlando Pirates needs a replacement for that. Now, I'm spiraling Mukobori in this instance, press resistant. I'm saying press resistance because he's got 4 players around him But look at the calmness that he has to say, 4 players around me, not bothered. I will change the point of attack. Now look how high the fullbacks of Orlando Pirates are, Sibelebele and Dion Otto in this instance. Pirates are on their attack. When that cross comes in, Thomas, look at the 4 players in the box for Orlando Pirates. Good box occupation. But again, the rest defense. Look at Dancing and Mkobori, correctly positioned. That's the tactical discipline that I've picked up this season from Orlando Pirates. They deal with the first phase and the second phase of defending. That is Chippa United. Now they've got 8 players committed in this instance. But you're asking yourself, why is Otto and Sibelebele, the guys that I'm spiraling now, why are they not running back? They're not running because there's 8 of them in that instance. Then you speak about the rest defense of Orlando Pirates. Again, the replacement for Nduli. Matthews spoke about the depth. I'm spiraling him again. Press resistant. 3 players around him, but he's composed on the ball. He does not look rushed whenever he's in position. And when you rotate the ball and take it back, you'll see the rest defense of Orlando Pirates. Now I'm going to highlight the 2 center backs in CM and CBC. When you go into that middle, look at the 3 midfielders of Orlando Pirates. They're suffocating Chippa in their own half. Once they rotate the ball, look at the wide spaces. That's what Matthew and I were discussing, to say the wide spaces is where the space was because they closed the center. That is Chippa United. When you progress the ball, Tito becomes important in that 10 role. I'm spiraling him in this moment. But the hand of God is on Lungu. He's going to go on and score the goal. But we spoke about the shape of this Chippa United team with the 4 defenders correctly positioned. And when you go into the 3 midfielders, that's how important the pass of Tito becomes, because that one pass that he makes, Tito dissects 7 players. But good profile from Lungu to receive on the half 10. And then when he receives on the half 10, he's got one thing on his mind, to say, these guys have been compact. I need to have a shot at goal. And he gets it on target. A clinical finish from Lungu, but good pass from Tito to find him.
Good goal. Lungu is a goal scorer that puts Pirates 1 up in this one. And then the centre-back, Siema. Lungu again involved here. I mean, he's running out the box, Lungu, creating space for Siema.
Yeah, and Siema does very well to get rid of Siabi, who had come on in place of Chubeni. And he does very well to get the leap in front of Kamis, and does the right thing and heads that directly back across Nwabali, not giving him a chance. So good header from the defender, who had a superb game, to be honest, as well.
And then Madingwana here. I mean, I thought I'd see him at the police station reporting theft, because that is just stolen.
Yeah. When you don't get a lot of minutes and you get an opportunity like Sendami gets, I think because of the injury to Muremi, who was not even on the bench, he goes on to steal this ball, goes forward and says, I'm not going to share with anyone. This is my opportunity to stake my name in this Orlando Pirates team. And look how he's received. The whole team is happy for him. They go celebrate with him. Good pressing. Matthew takes away space and time, but he still needed the ability to finish, puts it in the back of the net.
Away from home, Pirates coming with 4 points back to Johannesburg with the trip down to Durban. Then, speaking of the Durban sides, Amazulu, they were the